Hello again, chaps and chapettes. How are we all doing? It is lovely to see you all again. As always, I thought we'd run over this proposed bill that Keir Starmer is trying to flash out with that baguette-munching moronic necrophiliac across the English Channel there in the name of Emmanuel Macron, who is currently in the UK on a 3-day state visit to hold talks with our fearless leader, Keir Starmer. My good God. Now, usually, my friends, a deal is struck between two parties where both parties benefit from that said deal. This migration deal that Keir Starmer is trying to make with France has us basically bent over a barrel, being shafted hard up the rectum as we do tend to find ourselves during the current climate. The Chagos Islands, for example, and surrendering Gibraltar's borders to the Spanish being two examples. We are there to be taken advantage of, and Macron can see it, and he's playing that tune like a pro, so credit where it's actually due. Emmanuel Macron said France and the UK have a shared responsibility to address irregular migration with humanity, solidarity and fairness. I ain't finished the fucking sentence yet, and I've got to pick up on this, my friends. Am I insane? Am I living in some kind of backward ulterior universe where we have not Brexited and left the EU? Technically left the EU. I know we're still attached to the EU heavily via various strings, particularly to the ever-growing rulebook over in the EU that we have to abide by. Courts over in Strasbourg dictating who and what leaves our country and when it leaves our country, for a prime example. So I don't understand how a immigration crisis from EU member states concern us and how it's a shared responsibility. We're supposed to be a sovereign, self-governing, independent nation. Ergo, we should choose who or what comes in and out of our fucking borders. But of course, it doesn't. I just suppose it further cements the fact that we have not indeed Brexited. What we voted for in 2016 has simply not happened. How can I tell this? Because we're getting an influx of immigrants that we cannot get rid of. Stands to reason, my friends. Emmanuel Macron said France and the UK have a shared responsibility to address irregular migration with humanity, solidarity and fairness after arriving in London on Tuesday for a state visit. The French President and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer are set to hold talks at number 10 today on defence, security, economic growth and illegal migration. Picture this, right? The UK is being represented at these talks by Keir Starmer, David Lammy and Rachel Reeves on defence, security and economic growth. My God, we are in the shit. Dear me. You'd be better off having 3 squashed hedgehogs in place of them fucking 3. They are useless beyond comprehension. A long-running sticking point between the two nations. Ahead of last month's G7 summit, Starmer said he would raise the issue of small boat crossings across the English Channel with Macron and seek a much better cooperation as migrants continue to slip past police on French coasts. What pissing police? The gendarmes don't give one solitary shite. Despite Starmer's promise to get a grip on channel crossings when he came into power 1 year ago, the total number of people crossing the channel in small boats this year has passed 20,000 last week. The total now stands at more than 21,000, a record for this point in the year. French police do appear to have stepped up efforts in recent weeks, with officers recently filmed slashing boats with knives, while officials are considering allowing police interventions up to 300 miles off the coastline rather than requiring the boats to still be on land. Did any of you guys see that clip circulating on social media a few days ago? It just so happens, under massive astronomical coincidence, that the BBC was there with cameras, microphones, lighting to film the French gendarmes slashing these dinghies. So transparent, it's proper fucking gander to shut people up like me and you, if just for a couple of weeks. Oh look, the French are doing something now. They're doing what they've been paid for, etc., etc. No. The chances of a film crew being there while they're doing that is out of this world. You're better off winning the fucking lottery than believing that small clip. Let me tell you. Among the strategies expected to be discussed by Starmer and Macron this week is a so-called one-in, one-out deal, which would see an exchange of migrants and asylum seekers between the two countries, a plan opposed by leaders of several Mediterranean countries. Yes, I bet it is, because once they go back over to France, they'll be dispersed among the other EU members. It's like rearranging the dust. It's like trying to clean a bookcase with a tea towel instead of a duster. You're just rearranging the dust. And let me tell you, right, if this deal does indeed go through even, excuse me, I can guarantee you that just because some migrant has got connections to Britain, it doesn't mean he's going to come here and be economically dormant like most of these migrants are. Just because they've got family here, it doesn't mean they're suddenly going to jump into some laboratory in some government-funded building somewhere and start working on cures for cancer. The fucking... I don't know how to stress this enough. The probability of them getting into social housing, keeping their feet up, eating curry and chapatis for the rest of their lives until they're put in the ground is almost 90%. They don't want to work. They want handouts. They want economic stability at the cost of the taxpayer. It's as simple as that. I've done reading with this now, guys. It's going to go on forever, this video, if I don't pack it in there. You've got the gist of the idea here. One comes in, one comes out. It simply does not tackle the situation that we want to be tackled. We have far too much immigration coming in as it is. We want it stopped. That's why we are voting the way we are in the next coming general election with Farage. A huge probability of becoming the next Prime Minister. We are sick of it. So having one immigrant come out and one immigrant coming in, it's still going to stay exactly the same, but Keir Starmer can go into the front of the cameras and say, we are tackling the issue, because they are deporting illegal migration and importing more legal migration to add to the 1 million plus per year that we see coming over our borders. I'd like to mention something else as well, guys. I apologise for the jump cut there, my friends. One of my bin lids decided to come into the room, and yeah, I don't want my kids on a fucking YouTube video for obvious reasons. Anyway, my friends, I want to leave you with something else that Keir Starmer has said in an interview. I think it was either this morning or yesterday afternoon. My memory's terrible. I can't quite remember. I'm paraphrasing here, but he hasn't ruled out giving even more money to the French and Macron to try and deal with the problem over at their end. I'm paraphrasing here, but he said something along the lines of, we are not ruling out the funding methods that are deemed a success. On top of the 700 odd million, we've already paid them already, so we're talking about another 8 million. We're talking way over £1 billion being spent on something that the French simply don't give a shit about. Let's face it, if the boot was on the other foot and the migrants wanted to leave our country and go over to France, would we kick up much of a stink about trying to stop them? No, I don't think we would, and I can't really blame the French for wanting to tidy up Paris and the rest of their towns and cities of all these wrong-uns. Can you? Let's be honest here. Take off our white and red glasses, and yeah, get a dose of reality. Can't blame them. We wouldn't do it. End of story. Anyway, my friends, that's my video. Do let me know what you think about this preposterous deal. It's fucking pie in the sky. It's all a smoke screen. It's us being taken advantage of yet again. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.